Hong Kong is taking very seriously its responsibilities, if you like, in terms of climate change and sustainability. But we also see it as a major business opportunity, in particular in the context of mainland China, and I'll be showing you some of the reasons for that in a minute. Science Park, we also have a major green agenda. What we seek to do, it's quite interesting, we seek to act, if you like, as a test bed, a test case for many of the things that we'll be talking about today, and also as a home, if you like, for members of the green family. And we see the bulk of the tenants or the partner companies in phase 3 will be from the green family, as I described them. So moving just into quickly, just reminding you very quickly about vision and mission. Our focus, as I said when I was presenting the first time, is on certain niche areas, if you like, where we see the window of opportunity. And again, just to remind you, if we look at our clusters, that row along the bottom, if you like, is where we see the future of phase 3, and we see the future for companies like companies in this room here. Huge amounts of things to be done and huge amounts of work to be done. I won't describe them again in detail, but we'll come to them when we talk about the China opportunity. What's next? Well, we see a new horizon. We see what we describe as the green decade, certainly in the context of phase 3 and the China opportunity. And what's driving it, and what I thought I'd do is work from the macro to the micro. First of all, if we look at China's green economy, as I describe it, first of all, China has now become the biggest consumer of energy. It's overtaken the US. So they have got to get their act together in terms of trying to manage the situation going forward. They know that. They have a major agenda to do this, but they are now top of the league, and obviously that presents them with challenges and us with opportunities. If you look also at their ambition, and I think it's a pretty impressive ambition, if you like. This is some extracts from the 12th five-year plan. For a start, they've ruled that all new buildings are mandated to achieve 65% energy savings compared to the existing building stock. That's not a bad target to aim for, and that's mandatory. So everything that's new has to be 65% savings compared to the existing stock. They're planning to tax CO2 emissions. So they're going to tax the polluters, if you like, both in terms of the energy and environment, and that's been submitted to the State Council and is likely to be approved. They've increased the number of mandatory green targets. They had 4 clean tech targets. They've now got 6 new ones, particularly in the area of primary energy consumption. And the whole theme of innovation rings through, if you like, virtually every other line of the 5-year plan, talking about new energy vehicles, energy efficiency, new energy, solar, wind, biomass, etc. They're actually identified as specific areas which the government wants to take forward. So what do we see as the China opportunity, if you like? We see China actually leading the way in Asia, certainly in terms of the regulatory environment and the framework that it's seeking to establish. Many of the targets are very ambitious indeed, but it wishes to lead, if you like, and it's in the areas of renewable energy, vehicle fuel economy, and emissions and energy efficiency primarily. One of the biggest challenges, if you like, is the statement they've made that they wish by 2020 that 15% of their energy should come from non-fossil fuels, which is a huge target. I mean, most economies would be happy to get to 5%. They're targeting 15%, which is a major target. The other major opportunity, which are going to produce challenges but also opportunities, is they reckon that half their existing residential stock is going to have to be replaced in the next 20 years. So there's not only disposal of all the building materials, if you like, but there's the opportunity to build in its place what I describe as eco-communities. They talk about eco-cities, they talk about eco-communities. They are serious about it. And they are bringing together not only the government but also the industry to create organisations which are intended to drive these initiatives forward. Very serious. So China obviously has a major green agenda, if you like, a major program, and China intends, I'm sure, I know, wants to deliver. Hong Kong has got its own agenda, and this is where we begin to look at where we see the park playing a major part. This is just the list of areas where Hong Kong is already looking at where it can achieve improvements, if you like. One of the big challenges in Hong Kong is waste. 50% of our waste still goes to landfill, which is appalling. And there's a major opportunity there. We're looking very seriously at sustainable transportation. Electric vehicles is high on the agenda. There's a steering group chaired by the Financial Secretary, because we see Hong Kong as a compact city. Most journeys are only about 30 or 40 kilometres. It lends itself to an electric vehicle solution in the longer term. Lots of opportunities with measuring energy usage, if you like, looking at smart metering, looking at auditing. Again, a lot of things happening in Hong Kong, both at the building level and the city level, which I think give rise to opportunities in this area. And then moving it down to our own green agenda, we've already embarked, if you like, on the journey. The first thing we've done is to build a prototype, if you like. This is the last building in phase 2, and the idea is that we will use this, and we are using this building to test a whole range of technologies to see which potentially have a longer-term commercial application in phase 3. Some we've learned, for instance, we have wind turbines, not a success. We just don't have the amount of wind that we need we thought we'd have, when we initially measured, we thought we'd have wind coming off the sea, enough to drive the turbines, which in turn would provide power, etc. That's an experiment which we've learnt from. But by having a prototype like this, we're able to take the lessons learned, if you like, and we will be applying them to phase 3. It's called Green 18. You can imagine why. One of the big things we're testing, if you like, and we believe that it's a way forward in Hong Kong, is natural ventilation. Huge quantum leap. As you know, virtually all our buildings are centrally air conditioned. But we're looking at an atrium-type solution with ventilation coming in at the bottom levels of the building, taking the air up, and certainly looking at natural ventilation in the autumn and the winter and the spring season. We may need for electricity, air conditioning in the summer. And then we've got all the things that you can imagine. We have sky gardens, green roofs, etc. And then these are some of the things that we're testing, if you like, in Green 18. Not all will be reused, but most will. And then moving on to the more exciting challenge and the more exciting project. This is phase 3, and the first thing we did was to bring in experts in terms of sustainable planning. So we've come up with what I describe as a sustainable master plan, looking at how we should orientate the buildings from a solar and a wind perspective. And you can see how we've shifted all the buildings around so that we now get maximum air efficiency, airflows, and we also minimise the impact of sun and solar. Looking for every building to be a showcase, both in terms of design and operation, and looking to implement green lease regimes, etc., etc. All the buildings are targeted to be LEED Platinum, or at least BEAM Platinum, but some will be a LEED Platinum as well. And ultimately, you'll see that we're targeting zero carbon. Whether we get there is still under debate, or somewhat of a challenge, if I may put it that way. This is the content of phase 3, which I've already talked about. This is the model of phase 3, and I can assure you that phase 1 and 2 do look like that. So, Gameplan, and this is where we see working with companies from outside Hong Kong, including the UK. We want it to be, as I say, phase 3 to be the showcase for both green technologies and sustainable design. But we see the opportunity to use phase 3 as a showcase in itself in terms of sustainable practice, construction, development for Hong Kong and indeed the mainland. So the ultimate goal is to show the mainland how it could and can be done, if you like, at both the project level and indeed at the city level. because we think that a lot of the things we're doing have a city application as well. And we would test and develop in the park, and then we would refine within the city of Hong Kong, working, as was described earlier, with the Hong Kong government, come up with a city solution, if you like, and then try and move into the China market in particular. I mean, most cities in China are struggling in terms of sustainability. They've fallen way behind, and there's a major opportunity. So that's where we'll be coming from in what we're trying to do in phase 3. Ideally, phase 3 will become the hub for GreenTech and for green development in Hong Kong and the region. This is just explaining the design principles. Obviously, we're trying to do as much through passive and active design. We're introducing renewable energy. We will certainly not do carbon offsets, but we may well be looking at off-site green power to just get us to that zero carbon mark. We're about 88% now out of 100, so we're pretty close to it. And we'll be the first, certainly zero carbon district, if you like, in the whole of the Far East. So by having what I've just described here, we believe that will attract companies like your own to settle in the park. We believe that you will see it as an opportunity to develop your own technologies in Hong Kong, but also it will provide us all, and we see this as a partner initiative with that access to the China market. There's a very receptive market, certainly in mainland China, and it's one that is there to be exploited, if you like. We believe that to a large extent this is about not necessarily about competitiveness, it's about relevance. And if you think about how Hong Kong is going to remain relevant in the context of the region, relevance to me is introducing initiatives like this, so you show that you can add value both within China and elsewhere. Best of Hong Kong Science Park. You've heard quite a bit about this already, but we see that if we do this work in the park, protected by all the things you've heard about earlier, plus taking advantage of Hong Kong as a unique city, the compactness of the city, the high-rise buildings, all lend themselves, if you like, to be a platform for testing green technologies. And you see I've just listed here electric vehicles, energy management, recycling, pollution management, thin film solar panels, etc. Huge number of opportunities which can be developed in the park, refined at city level, and then marketed on a regional basis. And we see ourselves doing that in partnership with companies like yourselves. You've heard a lot about the partnership with the Pearl River Delta. Again, we've covered a lot of this already, but the park is well positioned to help you, I think, access the market there and take advantage of what we call the one country, two systems model by doing your R&D and your IP in Hong Kong. And to the extent you want to have pilots, to the extent you want to move into manufacturing, that we can arrange that in southern China. Just some examples. DuPont we talked about already. They have taken the quantum leap, if you like. They've set up their global centre in the park, research centre. They've even put a pilot line in the park, but they've set up a major production facility north of the boundary, and they've already accessed the market in a major way. And this is very interesting because here what we did, we marketed, we went out, if you like, with what I describe as a combined offer. And literally, I sat next to with the mayor of Shenzhen on my right, and I talked to him about how splendid the park was. He talked about how splendid Shenzhen was, and between us, we came up with a combined offer, which managed to, we had questions earlier about, do I come to Hong Kong, do I go to Singapore, etc. We were in competition, obviously, with Singapore. We're in competition with Shanghai as well. But because we were able to offer this unique combined offer with the protection of Hong Kong in terms of R&D and IP, and the production, the market in southern China, we won the day. This is another interesting example, and I didn't have time really to concentrate on this in the first presentation. Outward flows, I think, is a huge opportunity. Many of the Chinese companies who I deal with are looking to expand their commercial base outside the country. They're big enough, they have the resources to do it. And this is an example of Cheng Glass, one of the biggest glass manufacturers in China, who wish now to move into Asia and then into the global market. And they have decided that the way that they're going to best understand the outside market is to put an R&D base in the park, from which they will begin to develop products which are catered, if you like, or more suited to the outside markets than they are perhaps to the China market. So they're looking to adapt and to refine their products so that they're more acceptable to the outward market. But this is an example of, I think we should see this more in the future. BYD I mentioned, another example of outward flows, a major battery manufacturer, going to set up a test laboratory in the park to look at battery research, look at batteries, how we can reduce the size and the cost of the battery. Very important initiative in terms of the future of electric vehicles in Hong Kong. Just wrapping up, we see Hong Kong as the gateway to the mainland and to Asia markets, and we see it as a major opportunity to capture green opportunities. And we see establishing Hong Kong as a major technology hub within the park, but within Hong Kong. And we see this as a partnership, as I mentioned, between the park and small players, medium players, and large players. There's room for everybody in the initiative.
It's a pleasure for me to share with you how Philips Lighting have built a green agenda in the Hong Kong environment. So this presentation is not going to be very technical, but the aim is to share with you how we approach green agenda from Philips Lighting perspective. So first, let me give you some background of Philips Lighting Hong Kong. Right, Philips Electronics is rooted in Hong Kong as a key base, being the most strategic location to position for China and rest of Asia. As you can see, we are among the first electronics brand to build and sell offices in Hong Kong and China since 1948. We create value through our meaningful innovations that improve people's life, and particularly for lighting, we want to simply enhance life with light. If you see our footprint, it's quite impressive. We have over 1,000 employees, which Nick actually said we have 12,000 people now. It's growing every day. And we have a global headquarters of audio, video, multimedia, and accessories, a regional headquarters of Philips Design Unit. We have a global business unit of LED lamps, which just came in this year. It's a newly created global business unit, actually, because of LED, and decided to move it to Hong Kong. And we have a compact fluorescent lamps global business unit. We annually launch about 300 products to 60 countries around the world. And we are great friends with Science Park because we are all housed in Science Park since last year, so all 1,200 of us. Now, we see that in today's world, we need to improve, or we need to provide meaningful innovations to respond to global, regional, and local changes. And what are they? What do we see? We see there are essentially three areas. One, population rise and urbanization, growing demand for resources and energy. Third, city beautification and identity. The first two you would think is actually quite normal, that you see urbanization, resources, energy. The third one is actually one of the key agenda of many cities, and this is also true in Asia as a whole. People or the countries really want to position the locations or the cities as one of the key areas to showcase to the rest of the world. And all these are especially true in Asia as a whole, particularly Hong Kong, also first-tier and second cities in China. We're increasingly urban and global. 50% of the world's population lives in cities, and this is expected to rise to 75% by 2050. Environmental awareness is at the top of any government agenda today. Energy-efficient lighting can deliver savings of 40% globally. So if you look at Hong Kong, we are a city, entirely urbanized. If you look at China, at the rate of the cities are being transformed day to day rapidly, the potential is tremendous. In lighting, we are required to fulfill demands on lighting products and solutions that provide comfort, safety, and security, giving the public a sense of well-being, contributing to environmental protection, and enhancing the attractiveness of the cities. So if your company can offer solutions to these challenges, I think you're in for opportunities in Asia, in China, and Hong Kong, and the rest of Asia. Transforming cities into super cities is another key trend in this part of the world, where the cities wish to build iconic locations that establish own identities. Hong Kong is clearly one of the leading forerunners. In our case, lighting is used to enhance architectural marvels as a showcase to the rest of the world. And if you remember, in 2008 Olympics in Beijing is a big case to show the rest of the world how great they are doing in China. However, growing urban populations raise other critical issues. Cities account for 70% of global energy consumption. 40% of the world's energy is used in buildings, more than in transport or industry. Sustainability of our cities became a critical point to address. Rapid urbanization comes with a demand on increase of energy usage. As such, efficient allocation of energy becomes crucial to make a city a resource-efficient city and a livable city for us. Lighting is a significant consumer of energy. It represents almost 20%, 90% of the total electricity consumption. Buildings and streets account for 75% of all energy used for lighting, which is equivalent to 1,900 megatons of CO2 released every year. To illustrate more, people have the longest working hours in Asia. Probably not surprised by that. I think most of us work at least 8 hours a day, if not 10, if not 12 hours a day. And you can imagine what kind of energy consumption that we're using in buildings, offices, and homes. So especially in Hong Kong, over 30% of 2012 and 13 new development projects are commercial buildings alone. The effect of rapid urbanization and demand for sustainability has prompted the lighting industry to go through a remarkable transformation in green lighting. Being the leader in the industry, Philips takes charge to lead this transformation, providing solutions to municipalities, offices, and homes in pursuit to make life simpler, more enjoyable, and more productive in personal and professional lives. Hong Kong government, on the other hand, with a high agenda on sustainability, introduced the Building Energy Efficiency Ordinance, encouraging the development of green buildings, as you have heard from Nick earlier. We work closely with the government and private sector to achieve this cause by providing the most energy-efficient product solutions for Grade A offices, enabling an environment for foreign firms to establish presence here. In the global movement in phasing out incandescent lamps, which is the normal small bulbs that you have seen 100 years ago, Hong Kong is among the first to announce this plan across Asia, and Philips Lighting will provide green lighting solutions with LEDs spearheading this agenda. So as you can see, you have Asia, and you have Europe, and you have the rest. What is more interesting, this is a bit more difficult to explain, but basically 120 years of lamps development, you have the lowest efficiency of incandescent lamp at the bottom, and you have the highest efficiency that we see in LED. So, LED revolution. We will embrace the next major milestone in the world of lighting. Digital lighting will transform the entire landscape. We envision this market will grow from today at 13% to 50% in 2015. And this is the same case that we see in China as well as Hong Kong. The key drivers of LED adoption is customers are becoming increasingly aware of the benefits of LED lighting, such as dynamic lighting effect, balance of cost and energy savings, and effects of sustainability. And two, government is really driving sustainability energy solutions. So let me give you a couple of examples of LED and outdoor when enhancing the city experience, safer, dynamic, office, beautifying, as well as improving productivity, energy saving, shops, enabling a distinct brand and ambient setting, which you will see we actually go back, respond to the 3 areas that I mentioned earlier: urbanization, resource and energy management, and identity establishment. Last but not least, going back to my first slide, why Hong Kong is a base? I think for Philips, it's actually infrastructure for us as an environment in terms of areas, government, as well as people competency. Second, fiscal advantages for global business unit. And third, the transparent legal system and IP protection, which are all crucial elements to build a firm foundation in entering Asian markets. In Philips, we were just awarded a sector leader in the Dow Jones Sustainability Index this month, September this year. And basically, our green products accounted for 38% of all products in 2010. I hope this session of my presentation gives you a picture of how Philips Lighting embraces the movement of green initiative. Hopefully provide you an inspiration of how you position your company to join your journey. We're committed in continuing this effort, and we welcome any information or partnership that would share the same vision with us.
As Alan said, that we are UK-based, basically. Our company started which is almost 60 years ago. And we started our Hong Kong operations 30 years ago. And we have been very active in these years in our China business. China business almost account over 40 to 50% of our business. So what I'd like to share with you is actually our understandings of the markets, our understanding of the focus, our understanding of the way how we could help you if you want to start your operation there. And why China? I'd like to address this before we talk to why Hong Kong. When we talk about this GreenTech, I read this news actually, also I'm seeing that kind of news in the televisions, said there's one big solar company in the US who actually shut down a few weeks ago because they could not beat the kind of competitions from China and also from other company in the East. I'll give you more kind of insights on this later on. But at the same time, that you can see that in many companies, including some of them in Hong Kong, who are providing either the professional service or the manufacturing of the products or actually applications of this green energies or green tech in general, enjoying very favorable kind of operating conditions and business environments in China, as you can see in one of these news clips I get from China Daily. So these give you some of the insights on the kind of business of this green tech globally, kind of global perspective, which I quote from one of the recent reports from Pew Charitable kind of trusts. As you can see, in year 2009, China alone actually has spent $34.6 million of US dollars on green tax. It's actually on green energies, which is not accounting the energies, the efforts, spendings on transport and also on other waters and other kind of facilities. So which if you look at this chart, is well ahead of what's been spendings or invests actually in the United States and also from other countries in this part of the world. So these may tell you, why we should have more focus, or if you want to develop business in China at least. Again, on the markets, the same reports give you kind of projections on what's the likely kind of business, the scale of business on this green energy is likely to be happens in the coming 10 years. As you can see that if all those G20 countries, including China's, United States, and EU, taking more proactive responsible kind of policies to addressing the issues on environmental impacts and also on this carbon emissions, then that would generate about 2.3 trillion of this green energy business in 10 years. Even if these countries do not take a very kind of active, proactive of measures on their policies, we still have around 1.7 trillion of markets, which is huge. I mean, green building or green technologies actually is the only kind of sectors not affected by this economic downturns. I mean, each of those countries has been spending a lot of money in this business, in this market, because it's becoming very strategic. I mean, later on, I'll give you the kind of perspective from China, why they see this importance. Again, a little bit more details on the investments. I mean, the wind by far is most kind of mature or more developed kind of business in this green energies. And again, since 2009, China actually overtaken the United States, the biggest country invest on these energies. And that last year, it accounted over 40% of the global installations on this green energies. If you look at this figure, probably will tell you why that particular U.S. company go shutdowns. Because if you look at this top 10 kind of solar panel producer worldwide on year 2010, and 5 of which actually are coming from China, including the biggest one, the largest one, which is Suntex. It's actually they are dominating both the local and also the international markets on that. So coming back to China, that how do we see the kind of business environments in the coming years? We actually study the kind of drivers. Why China's suddenly interest in this green techs or green energies to a certain extent is that the economy itself is expanding. We all know that with 10% of GDP growth each year, they have more kind of room for them to expand. And they strategically treat this green techs as kind of areas that they put more efforts on. If you look at the ambitious kind of policies, including those 12 5-year plans, you know the details, which later on I'll give you more details on the areas that they will look into for the coming few years. But of course, China, although it's developed country, it's actually one of the biggest oil consumer in the world. So they have issues of energy securities, food, water, alike as big environmental issues. There's a kind of a life and death situations in China. So how to secure these energies has become, again, number one top priorities in their policies. Some speakers mentioned earlier on that continued urbanizations as a major drivers in China. Just imagine every year you have about 13 millions of people moving from rural areas to the urban areas, and you can see the kind of demand on the energies and also waters and so on. You have heard a lot of this eco-city. I mean, that in total, I mean, as far as I know, that more than hundreds kind of so-called eco-city have been either being built. Oh, 3 minutes. Okay. Either being built or being planned within China, but it's going to happen. I mean, that in a quicker space. And the other drivers, which I think is as important, which will help to create quite sustainable kind of demand or business for this green tech in China. So these are the details. I mean, other than the renewable energies, these are the areas that, based on our day-to-day works in China with our clients, with our collaborator, with our discussions with the local and so central governments. These are the areas that they actually be interested to develop, and those at the bottom tell you the specifics, kind of technologies or business that they will look into on energies, on waters, on buildings, on transportations, and other waste management, so on and so forth. So that's the potential. So how we can, if you're interested, how we can start up, move into that particular market. Here are some of the kind of instruments, you can call it, to get into the markets. Of course, if you're big enough, you can be part of those what we call BOT kind of things, companies that help a lot, many overseas companies to bet on this kind of BOT projects, on wastewaters, on energies and biomass, and so on and so forth. In Hong Kong, we actually have just recently commissioned one, which is also the biggest district cooling in the regions, and also some specialist projects like sludge treatments are also becoming popular of using this kind of BOT in China, so in Hong Kong. Of course, you can also use a JV, partnering with local partners, but that needs a lot of kind of due diligence works on that. And like us, you can provide with professional services on design, legal matters, finance and insurance, so on and so forth. And most recently, energy contracts have become more and more popular in China for buildings and also district energy operations. You can treat it as a business, actually. And last, certainly not the least, that I think next have elaborated on this R&D, and that certainly see the kind of advantages with some either SME or other multinational companies to set up their research kind of institutes in Hong Kong or in China, which is close to your market where you want. Network is very important. That this is how Arup work on. We share a lot of things. But what I'd like to highlight here is basically it's China at this particular moment still need a lot of kind of information. They need a lot of technologies to help them to transform into more sustainable way. We see our values of providing kind of professional services and also providing kind of technologies. And more importantly, nowadays they are looking for solutions that will help them to implement the kind of policies, which is a kind of integrated everything that solve issues of waters, air qualities, energies, and so on and so forth. A lot have been heard on this CPA arrangements. What I highlight here is actually second point. It's actually under CPA, we can actually we can assess the China market as providing kind of professional services. That UK is very good at this, providing professional service. If you have a company that's established in Hong Kong, you can make use of this mechanisms to help you to start your business there by providing professional services. This is last slide. Why Hong Kong? I'd like to use this diagram to show why Hong Kong is important. Why not Singapore? If you look at geographically, I gauge for using one interesting kind of measurement, what we call making a day trips to meet your clients. Hong Kong seems to be the only place, if you draw a circle here, that you can meet most of your clients in one day. Using day trips, you can go to Shanghai. Day trips, you can go to, probably not to Tokyo, you can go to actually Korea, Taiwan, and other Southeast Asia. But if you look looking into the location of Singapore, it takes actually 6 hours from Singapore to Beijing. So they cannot do that. If they get kind of requests from clients, I want to see you tomorrow, then it's actually not possible for them to make that trip. So strategically, we do have the kind of advantages on this. And locally, and some other speakers mentioned that we do have a kind of a very strong manufacturing basis. Manufacturing base in this Guangdong province, which will help you if you have a kind of innovations. You need someone with high skills to get manufacturers, and we have a kind of strong manufacturing basis in this Pearl River Delta regions, of course. So in summary, that I hope that you get kind of overviews on the kind of context, how you can operate in China, and what the kind of focus in the coming years when we think about your next steps moving into the market chance?
My daily job is helping the industry in China in improving the energy efficiency and pollution prevention. The thing is that, if you want to go to China, to go to Hong Kong, to provide your expert solutions to help China, first of all, what you need to do is understand the market. If you do not understand the market, the solution that you're going to provide may not fit for purpose. At the end of the day, you will not get the job, you will not get the business. That's why before you come to Hong Kong, before you come to China, let's study what the market demands. With the continuous global development in the last 3 decades, I think most of you agree with me that the economic engine has been shifting from west to east. Looking at the capital reserve of China, you can have a glimpse of that. China last year has the biggest capital reserve over past USA. But nothing is free. There is no free lunch in the world. China has paid a lot of effort, a lot of opportunities in getting this, because according to the book, Asia growth beyond Asia. According to the book, Growth Beyond Asia, do you know that out of the 20th highly polluted cities around the world, how many are located in China? Make a bet. 5, 10, 18, almost. 16. The correct answer is 16. Out of the 20th highly polluted city in the world, 16 cities are located in China. That's why you can see that if China continue in such a pace of development, it is not a sustainable development. China will pay up a lot of values, in compensating for the economic gain. That's why China has put up a very stringent 12 5-year plans in the coming 5 years' time. And apart from China, I just mentioned about that, the whole Asia is moving towards this economic engine. The same happened in China. If all these Asian cities are not doing the right job in the first time, they will having the similar environmental pollution in the coming few years' time. They have to pay up a lot of high value, for the environmental impacts. Because of this, because of highly polluted city in China, they have set up a very, very stringent demand in the coming 5 years in order to combat for the environmental pollution. Let's see what they are trying to do. According to the 12 5-year plan, by 2015, energy intensity has to be reduced by 18%. By 2020, carbon emission has to be reduced by 45%. Water use, which is expected to rise, not decrease, water use will be increased to 620 billion cubic meters by 2015. Up from only 599 billion in the year of 2010. And also as much as 670 billion cubic meters by the end of 2020. I ask you a question. Instead of decreasing, why the water consumption is increasing in the coming 5 years? Do you know the answer? They're trying to reduce energy consumption everywhere. In carbon emission, why water consumption is, instead of decreasing, is going up? What's the answer? Because why? It's a good reason. Because due to the increasing access to cleaning water, particularly in the rural area, a lot of people can drink water now. Up to last year, statistics, 1/3 of the people can get access to clean drinking water last year. And then this situation is improving. And also, the sanitation in the whole Asia region is improving. That's why the demand for clean water is going up rather than going down. This is the demand set up by Chinese government in the 5 years' time. It's a very stringent requirement. But how can we do that? Is it an easy job to tackle this? If you are really expert in this field, you should understand that this is a very, very stringent requirement. It's not easy to get this. From my perspective, I think we can achieve this target by three perspectives. The first is the hardware side. I call the hardware side. Is the energy efficiency improvement. According to my humble experience in the last 20 years' time with some of the factories in China, I could see all the energy-consuming systems are operating at a very low energy efficiency level. I could easily improve the energy efficiency and also save a lot of money out of the operation. Say, for example, the first one, boiler. Boiler has been widely adopted in a lot of industry all across China, also in Asia region. Boiler, in one factory in China, in Shantung province, after doing some reworks and improvement works, we can help the customer to save over 10 million renminbi per year. Then you could see what is the performance before the ratification. And apart from that, thermal insulation solution is a demanding area, because if you go into China factory, you can feel the heat dissipated from a lot of machine. Therefore, thermal management is a very critical solution required by a lot of industry in China. As mentioned by the two previous speakers, Green Lighting directives. According to the statistics done by the Chinese government back to 2005, around 18% of the energy being consumed in the lighting industry, in the lighting system. Therefore, it represents quite a very high percentage of energy consumption. It is, according to my survey, some of the factories are migrating to the most efficient lighting, such as LED. But still, a lot of factories, they don't have the investment. They don't have the sufficient money to convert to the latest technology. That's why there still exists a lot of room for improving. Excess electrical power, wastewater treatment, renewable energy. All these are hardware systems that we need to improve. Why? When we look back to UK, I'm sure that UK has gone through the same process back to 50 or even 100 years ago. You did have the experience accumulated in improving the environment by improving the energy efficiency system. Therefore, it exists a large room for you guys, professional people, to come to Hong Kong, based in Hong Kong, to help our people in China. Okay, this is the first perspective. The second perspective, hands up. Okay, it works now, sorry. The second perspective is the software management. I just share with you some experience in China. I have helped a factory in Dongguan to improve the pump and improve the efficiency for over 50%. It's a great invention, right? But during the Lunar New Year holidays, the pump has been running for 10 days during the Chinese Lunar New Year without stopping, without producing any work when output. You get my point? That is due to management problem. Therefore, apart from hardware improvement, we need software improvement too. We always say fall high and fall low in a lot of industry in China. High scrap rate, high reworks, high manpower idle time, high quality cost, low machinery utilization, no interdepartmental co-works, no management shop floor communication, and no productivity. In this area, operation efficiency, I'm sure that the UK professional can play a very vital role, particularly in the role of education, because through Hong Kong as a platform, you can help those enterprise to educate their employees, their manager, to improve the operational efficiency. There's a great room for providing your expertise in this area. Last but not least is innovation. A lot of people thinking that environmental technology is just focusing on air, energy, and water pollution, air pollution, and also the energy efficiency. But from my perspective, environmental technology is not only on this area. Actually, environmental technology is not a single technology. It's not a single industry. It's a catalyst on all existing industry, including fashion, apparel, food, accommodation, and transportation. If you can think out of some creative area, big use of environmental concept as a catalyst, you can create unlimited opportunities in new products and new services in the existing services. I think based on your creativity power in UK, you can think of many opportunities. I just give you two examples, very not high tech, just ordinary example, a shower. By implementing the concept environmental concept into a shower. This shower has been sold a lot, only in Hong Kong, in a lot of places in Asia. This shower can, after using this one, can save water consumption from previously 16 liters per minute down to 7 liters per minute. If, according to our calculation, if all the household in Hong Kong is using this shower, it can save 150,000 standard pools of water every single year. Not only water, how about the purification, how about the energy for conveying this water, and also the resources in purifying waste treatment system. After this water being used, you have to use waste treatment system to purify it, right? And if this water can be saved by such a great amount, how much energy, how much material we can save, we can conserve for the environment. The last one is just a word. By using a simple concept, implementing the concept into the daily consumption, the word, we can develop this kind of product, eco-comforter. I don't go into the detail because time is limited. By using this eco-comforter, I can assure you that you can save around 15% of energy in air conditioning. This has been proved. If you want the details, come back to me after the presentation. Okay. I don't want to go into details right now because time is limited. Last but not least, I think nowadays it's the golden opportunities for UK professionals to come to Hong Kong to partner with us. Not only for making money, I think it's because China and Asia will get on fire in environmental pollution. That's why we are working as a fireman to put off the fire together.